What what it is, everybody. Day 26 of the Iran war. Is it going as well as we planned? We had some hopeful news earlier this week. So welcome to the show, everybody. It is Wednesday, March 25th, 2026. How has 2026 been so far for you? How has it been so far for Donald Trump? We can look at polls, which aren't going well. We had some elections yesterday, which didn't go well. If you're thinking well would be the Republicans having any chance of having a majority in either house of Congress. So we can cover that. Trump manipulated the markets on Monday. And then more news came out late yesterday. Stock market was up today a little bit. So we're going to continue to talk about markets because they're very important to the ability to prosecute this war. And now today, more than ever, I could run another poll if you want. We've run this poll. We ran this poll on Saturday, I think, or Sunday, about whether you think there are going to be ground troops. I was about 50-50. But now it's looking like that's the plan. It looks like that's officially the plan. So based on what some people said today after a Senate briefing, it looks like officially we are planning to invade Kharg Island, most likely, or one of the islands there in the strait. I'm not sure what would stop us from doing that. We seem to be losing the war pretty badly. Or at least Iran isn't ready to admit yet that they lost. Press secretary said it today. Iran doesn't realize that they lost so far. They think they are actually winning. And we are begging for it to stop. We are begging for it to stop, it seems like. I mean, that's the impression that we're getting from the White House. We desperately would like it to stop. And that includes the Strait of Hormuz, and that includes Iran surrendering and agreeing not to make nuclear weapons ever, pretty much. We put out a list of demands, which are really no different than our demands before the war started, actually, showing that we've gained nothing so far, especially since Iran has counter demands. Bud Beasy, you're looking good. James Yonan, they raised the enlistment age, to 42. I wonder if that also raises the draft age. I proposed on this show that if we want to win, we're going to have to do a draft. And if we want to win, if we want to achieve our objectives. So far, none of which have been achieved. And if Iran agreed to the deal that we proposed, even if they agreed to the deal that we proposed, we would have really achieved almost no objectives. Really, they'd only be agreeing to what they'd already agreed to, pretty much. And they say they're not willing to do that anymore, actually. So actually, we're going backwards. We're kind of going backwards as far as like accomplishing anything. Iran is growing stronger and at this point appears to hold what you could say are all of the cards. Many people disagree, but give those people time. Maybe give them a month to see how they feel about us winning. I mean, even I was listening to a news show. The guy was like, don't be surprised. This is like an independent journalist. Don't be surprised if the Strait of Hormuz is totally open in 4 or 5 days. I was like, what are you smoking? 4 or 5 days, the Strait of Hormuz will be open. They'll just agree to that. Okay, sure. So there's still a lot of that news out there. And still, like what I've been watching, of course, is the stock market. Still no crash, really. Still a very stable stock market. It was up couple days in a row due to the jawbone. Or no, not a couple days in a row. It was up Monday, down Tuesday, up today after the talk about a ceasefire late Tuesday, I believe. And it's probably going to go down tomorrow. It's already down, having opened for trading for tomorrow. Yeah, it's a very important metric. Once again, not just because of financial reasons for you and me, but also because I believe Donald Trump will have a lot more trouble doing things if the price of oil goes up, above $100 a barrel, and if the stock market drops something precipitously, another 3% or so, people would be kind of upset. 5% would be really bad. So that's where we're at today. I have lots of propaganda videos. I'm going to just open the show with lots of videos, including kind of a Hollywood style video with some really famous actors. It's not even AI. I was lamenting that we don't do satire anymore about wars, but actually a bunch of really famous Hollywood actors got together and made a video that's kind of funny. So I'll show you that. Signs of a fuel crisis already. I'll show you all of those. Signs of a fuel crisis already in many countries. And another bad thing happened in a completely different part of the world today, which is also going to affect oil availability majorly. So I'll show you that. Something happened in another conflict, the Ukraine-Russia conflict, which is going to restrict the flow of oil even further. And like I said, there are already shortages in many countries, and it could turn into riots pretty soon, it looks like. I'll show you some video. So, let me just get to it. We'll do a short intro today, and we'll get you guys to all the video. I'm going to do my intro and then play a bunch of videos, including propaganda videos from Iran, which seem to be doing not only a better job militarily than we are, but a better job as far as their propaganda. Our propaganda was so horrible. Remember seeing that. The Wii video game, just stuff blowing up. Lame. Iran's is much better. So I'll show you guys some of that to start off the show, and I'll tell you how you can support the show. Super chats are open. We read them pretty much as soon as they come in, and we are glad for you to join us. All right. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, yes. Sora AI is gone too. Sora AI is gone. So that's true. All right, here we go. Let's get started. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman, and I bring you the news, the real news.
Sir, they're about to go nuclear. How long do we have?
Let me see if I can zoom this. That is terrible. Hold on, let me try to get you a better version of this. I couldn't zoom it. Iran War, the movie. Let's see if there's a better. Here. This will be better.
Sir, they're about to go nuclear. How long do we have?
Liam Neeson, Paul Giamatti.
They're 2 weeks away. How 2 weeks away are they? Even more 2 weeks away than they were 5 years ago. My God! That's dangerous levels of 2 weeks away. I know.
Sir Ian McKellen, Jack
Son,
Gyllenhaal.
if anything happens to me, continue my work. We're only 2 weeks away. I will continue, inshallah. Now I'll go to where no one can find me. My office on the 3rd floor, right by that really big window. Vengeance! Sir, if we attack, they will close the Strait of Hormuz. They don't have the balls to close the Strait of Hormuz. They just closed the Strait of Hormuz. And oil is now over $100 a barrel. Please keep me out of this. No one likes this war. And I want to be president one day. Come on, send a boat or something.
You're the most powerful military in the world. You send your own boats.
Dame Judi
That
Dench.
was a test. Ha! You fell right into my trap. Sometimes the best reason for war is no reason at all.
Straight out of Hormuz. It's pretty good. I like Rob Lowe doing pull-ups. He's in very good shape for his age. I guess they're all on steroids and stuff. Hollywood actors. That's why they're all like have the body of a 30-year-old and they're like 60. All right, here's so I haven't watched this one yet. This is more Lego animation video from the Iranians. We'll play that.
Yeah. You crossed the
I believe those were real actors, Royal Blood. I believe those were real actors, not created by Iran. That was actually created by our people. It appears that was definitely 100% real. The real Liam Neeson, Zach Galifianakis, Garofalo or whatever his name is, Jake Gyllenhaal, Dame Judi Dench, Sir Ian McKellen. It's got some pretty big names for it, so it's pretty good. Yeah, and I think they hired like real people for it. It wasn't just AI, so it actually had some production to it. Seems like they want to make fun of the war, which is it's good. I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it.
ocean justified your credit. Sacrifice your own boys for a lie. Listen. Yeah. Yeah. Make America great again. Yo, tails, this shit crazy. Yeah, make America great again now. We will see what happens, yeah. Watch this. Sacred defense, we protecting the soil. While you sacrifice soldiers to pay for your spoil. You push who ran the blow, sitting on your throne. Now we turning every base into a bed of stone. It's a slaughterhouse, a trap you couldn't see. Welcome to the graveyard of your vanity. The secrets are leaking. The pressure is rising. We locked on the target. And now you are hiding. LOSCR. Yeah, we spelling at your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a fucker while you shaking in your sweet. LOSCR. Taste the ass of defeat. LOSCR. Yeah, we spelling at your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a fucker while you shaking in your sweet. LOSCR. Taste the ass of defeat. Fighting in your suit, hiding Epstein's ghost. You sent your boys to die on the bloody coast. Not a revenge for the leader's blood is purely mine. Every drop of his blood is a missile on the line. You thought you took him out, thought the fire was dead, but another common is standing ahead. Yeah, you strike one down, we just shatter your brain. We put another in the leg. Common again. The secrets are leaking. Pressure is rising. We locked on the target. And now you are hiding. LOSCR. Yeah, we spelling out your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a puppet while you shaking in your sweet. LOSCR. Taste the ash. LOSCR. Yeah, we spelling out your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a puppet while you shaking in your sweet. LOSCR. Taste the ash of defeat. Sacred defense of the homeland. Sacred defense of the homeland. Sacred defense of the homeland. The slaughterhouse is open. Common name cash. LOSCR.
What do you think? I think they're going to agree to a ceasefire. It's lucky they don't show him these videos. Trump would be upset about being called a loser. They had a few interesting plot points in that video. One is that they were playing poker and Iran had all the cards. That's what people say, you know. Iran had the cards, $300 oil and some other things. I looked at that. Airplanes shot out of the sky, which is apparently happening, but according to us, it's not happening. So we keep getting videos from the Iranians of them shooting jets out of the sky, including a stealth fighter jet F-35. Apparently they shot down an F-18 today, I believe, but we deny it every time, just like we deny that our carrier was struck, which I don't know if it was or not. But no bad news gets to the president. I'll get to that part. Remember, Trump apparently decided to abduct Maduro after seeing him dancing. So if he sees these videos, he might get upset. So anyway, we're getting ready for a ground invasion anyway, probably just over these videos. Here's more. Pretty fire, actually. All right, here's more. Here's another one, I think. Let's see.
We've achieved our goals with Iran. I hope they'll negotiate. The war is finished.
Since you're attacking us, can you give us a question? Since you're, no, Mr. President-elect. Go ahead. President-elect, since you are our new...
We have to strike. What's your plan?
Iran must be divided.
Wish I knew what that said. Their language looks cool. It goes from right to left, which is weird, but it does look cool, actually. All right, here's one more. Yeah, at least one more. Let's see this one. Statue of Liberty with the head of ball. One vengeance for all. Okay, that one's good. All right. Let's see. I don't know if they're making these or if it's somebody sympathetic to them. Something called War Tunes comes out with their weapons all the time. This is one of the weapons they have in the Strait, which is going to make things very difficult for us.
My name is the Azda.
I am Iran's most dangerous underwater drone.
And right now, I am on a hunt. 8 meters long. Electric propulsion. 0 noise. 600 kilometers on a single charge. I operate down to 200 meters deep with 200 kilograms of explosives. Hey! Let me show them if they can open the strait as long as I am here.
Apparently, the nuclear-powered HMS Anson just arrived in the Arabian Sea.
How dare they? In my waters. All right, HMS Anson. You think a nuclear submarine can hide from me? Let me show you what a dragon can do. Help! U.S. warships, UK submarines, commercial tankers. Welcome to your worst nightmare. The Strait of Hormuz is my territory. Follow War Tune. Every day, a new...
They're all pro-Iranian War Tunes. I mean, I don't know. Apparently, they do new weapons every day, but they've done all the Iranian weapons, and it's always super positive. So, all right. And we are fighting a war against AI. So I will show you the war against AI video also.
Huh? Hello, what do you want? What do you want? You want me to press the button for you? You want me to press the button for you, Mingo? Fuck you. Press it yourself. You took a human's job and you want me to press the button for you? No, hello, fuck you. Excuse you? Yeah, excuse you. I'm not pressing nothing. You press it. You sit there, you took a human's job, you take over our infrastructure, and then you want me to help you out? Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Press it yourself. Oh, that's right. You don't have fingers. You got the green light, but you can't go because you don't have the walk signal. But you don't walk, you roll. Well, that's too fucking bad. Again, it's a cold war. You can sit here all night. Tell whoever's food that is to come press the button for you. It's not my problem. What the fuck you ever done for me? Mingo's just fucking stuck. It got the green light, but it can't go because it doesn't have the walk signal. Not my problem. Not my problem.
It's pretty funny. They have to ask humans to help them and just hope that we're nice to them. I was delivering something on campus the other day. I saw one of those robots out there. They're not very fast. They can't do much. They can't really replace us yet. They'll eventually. They will eventually for sure. But for now, humans are still required. They also can't walk upstairs very well. But they're slowly. All of them are stealing our jobs. I read an article today about baseball, the electric umpire, which is definitely going to replace umpires entirely soon. So far, it's just like tennis. So far, you have to challenge, but eventually they'll be like, well, if the robot's right all the time, why do we even have the human there? So, all right. Anyway, that's the funny video segment of the show. Oh, actually, no, I have one more funny video before I get started with what Trump was saying about the peace deal. Trump is every day, well, has been saying every day that we're really close to ending the war. But this is actually something else he said about Secretary or Mark Wayne Mullen, the nominee for Secretary of DHS or head of ICE or whatever.
But as the only Native American, I didn't know that, huh? Let me look at you. I think that's all right. He's got great quality, I can tell you. He's the only Native American in the Senate. How many have been there before you? Do you know? Native.
Let me look at you anyway. I thought it was probably funnier than it was. Okay, war talk finally. So we've seen the propaganda from them. We haven't been releasing any propaganda of our own recently. We just had the president to do that. The president Monday postponed the strikes on power plants because Iran said they would, because Iran didn't flinch, because it was a bluff in the first place, actually. And it probably still remains a bluff. We'll see. He postponed it for 5 days, at least until the weekend, which is when, coincidentally, when some of our Marines get to the area from the Marine Expeditionary Unit. Although it's not clear they're the ones that are going to do the invasion. It might be the 82nd Airborne instead, people are saying. So we'll see. Anybody who floats a boat in there is going to have to look out for those drone submarines, that's for sure, with explosives on them. But here is Trump yesterday talking things up, talking about how originally he said Iran called us, which seems to be a lie. It seems like we are the ones pushing for peace talks, and we are the ones who want to stop, who want everything to stop for now. And that's possibly just so that we can rearm and attack more. But by some reports, we're running out of bullets, which Trump said we never would. So I'll show you that report too. Anyway, here he is talking about that. Let's see.
No leaders left. The leaders are all gone. Nobody knows who to talk to. But we're actually talking to the right people, and they want to make a deal so badly. You have no idea how badly they want to make a deal. And we'll see what happens. No leaders left.
Yeah. You have no idea how badly they want to make a deal. Well, that's not what they're saying. It's not how they're acting. And if it was a ceasefire, I don't know if Israel is doing all the attacking. Israel is still doing a lot of bombing. So if we're trying to negotiate by being nice, we're not being nice. Israel is still doing a lot of bombing. There was a report today that they hit a nuclear power plant. But Iran is still being incredibly restrained, as far as I can tell, and not going after infrastructure, not going after oil fields, not going after Israeli power plants, as far as I can tell. They launched something at their near their nuclear power plant, which I wouldn't be surprised if they do more of that. But it seems as if maybe Israel is doing all the bombing right now. Here's Trump saying Iran has agreed to something.
And remember, it all starts with they cannot have a nuclear weapon. Just, I said yesterday, they said, what are the top 10? I said, well, number 1, 2, and 3 is they can't have a nuclear weapon. And they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. And we're talking about that. And I don't want to say in advance, but they've agreed they will never have a nuclear weapon. They've agreed to that.
How do you ensure they won't?
Really? Wow, that's impressive. They have agreed, he says, to not having a nuclear weapon, which is funny because if that's the result, they already agreed to that. They already agreed to that during the JCPOA deal under Obama, which Trump ripped up, and they agreed to that this time too. They already agreed to that before the war started. So if that's all we get, is that they agree not to have a nuclear weapon, that's exactly what we had before. And it was exactly the deal that was already in hand. And we had an Ayatollah in place who claimed that it was against Islamic law to make a nuclear weapon, and that he wasn't interested in pursuing a nuclear weapon, and that they only want to do their own nuclear power and enrich at low levels, and they're willing to have inspectors as long as if they do that, there are no more sanctions in their country. That's all they ever asked for. And actually, as far as the 15-point plan goes, the one that supposedly is the 15-point peace plan that it was leaked, that's all we're asking for now. So if even if we got that deal 100%, it's literally, well, except that as part of that deal, we want them not to enrich uranium at all, which they're not going to agree to. They've already rejected the plan entirely. But even if they agree to it, they would just have to agree not to enrich it all, and they'd still be allowed to have nuclear power. It's just the United States said they would enrich the uranium for them and let them have their own peaceful nuclear power program. But they already agreed to that. That was already what they were doing. No intelligence showed that they were actively pursuing making nuclear bombs ever. As far as the United States government intelligence services were confirmed, including the intelligence services under Tulsi Gabbard. It was Netanyahu and then Trump's crazies that insisted that they were 2 weeks away. How 2 weeks away are they? Even more 2 weeks away than they were 5 years ago. Wow. They could have had one almost at any time. If they wanted to, they could have. It seems like. If they had pursued it, because they got up to 60% enrichment, and they say it only takes a couple weeks to go from there to bomb grade. So if they had wanted to, they could have, and they still will be able to, but it's not clear that they care, because actually they're able to defend themselves pretty well with ballistic missiles. It turns out. Turns out they don't need a nuclear weapon to defend themselves against nuclear armed countries, because nobody wants to actually drop a nuke. Their missiles are pretty impressive, it turns out, even more impressive than they had let on. And they say they haven't even used the most sophisticated ones yet. And I kind of believe that. They may have hypersonics, which they just haven't even used, because they're waiting until they have to. So, but we'll see. He says they agreed to that. Well, that's what they agreed to before. The objectives of the war, let's see, what were they? No missiles. The missile program turned into the biggest part of the problem. Originally, an objective of the war was regime change, which now is no longer being pursued in any way, not being considered an objective of the war. Oh, yeah. And not funding proxies, which also isn't in the 15-point agreement. So if we got the 15-point agreement in full and didn't have to agree to any of their terms, we would have accomplished one objective, which we could have accomplished without the war, which we had they already agreed to it before we started the war. They had already agreed to that in full. They'd agreed to dilute the 60% uranium and only enrich to a very low grade, allow inspectors, and just have a civilian nuclear program. They had agreed to that 100% before the war happened. So if we got that deal, we got literally nothing. And it's less than nothing, because there's in the 15-point agreement, it says we'll talk about missiles later. That's what the 15-point agreement says. It says we'll talk about missiles later, and you'll have to reduce them. But if they don't have to agree to that now, then, and it doesn't say anything about funding proxies. And then Iran came out back with their counter agreement, which will take us a long time to agree to, most likely. Here's something weird Trump said. This was really bizarre, about getting a gift from Iran.
It was amazing, actually. They gave us a present, and the present arrived today. It was a very big present worth a tremendous amount of money. And I'm not going to tell you what that present is, but it was a very significant prize. And they gave it to us, and they said they were going to give it. So that meant one thing to me: we're dealing with the right people. No, it wasn't nuclear related. It was oil and gas related. And it was a very nice thing they did. But what it showed me is that we're dealing with the right people. Because, it was amazing, actually. They
Okay,
gave us
so
a
that's what he
present.
said. He said it's oil and gas related. Apparently, maybe he also said it was related to the Strait of Hormuz. If we're people are speculating that it's that they said they would allow foreign ships through the strait if they agreed to their terms. So what's going on right now? Also in our 15-point agreement, we said we would have no sanctions ever again if they did that. We would relieve all sanctions. They'd have no sanctions ever again. So far, right now, Iran is making way more money than they were before the war. And they completely control traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. And apparently they're charging $2 million per ship for passage. They said the Strait of Hormuz, they say in some senses, they say it's open, but it's open to people they allow through, and they're completely controlling it. Some ships are getting through, and I think that's what Trump meant. They said even American ships can go through if they don't agree with the aggression against them and if they meet all the standards. They're shipping oil to India, China, Pakistan, and somewhere else, and maybe Turkey. They're shipping oil to a few countries, and I guess they're accepting payments only in yuan or in cryptocurrency or cash. I heard they're accepting payments in yuan, cash, or cryptocurrency. And they're using Tron network, apparently, because it settles in 3 seconds. That's what I read. So they're making all the money from the toll they're charging ships. They used to have to sell oil at a discount to the prevailing price, which was low, which was down around $60 a barrel before the war started to climb up when people started to think the war was going to happen. Is now up to about $100 a barrel. It's like 90. WTI is like 90. Brent is 100. Now they're able to sell it for full price to whoever they want, which the price of oil has gone up like 35% or something since the war started. They're shipping more oil than they were before the war started. Apparently they're shipping like 10% more oil than they were before the war started. Their oil shipping has not gone down at all. They're getting full price, and they're charging a couple $1 million a tanker, a toll, to get through the Strait of Hormuz. So they're doing great, and there's no incentive. If everything's based on incentives, like was it Warren Buffett who said the thing about incentives? Show me the something, I'll show you. Show me the incentive, I'll show you this. If everything's based on incentives, Iran doesn't have an incentive to stop controlling the Strait of Hormuz because they make their money from oil. As long as they control the Strait of Hormuz, the price of oil is going to go up, so they'll make more money. And they're still selling their oil, no problem, because they're in full control of the strait. So why would they want to give that up? Why would they want to let everybody through, reduce the price of oil, and reduce their own income when they probably need the money? We assume because they're prosecuting a war. Royal Blood says, how long do you think this war will drag on for? Can NATO not block all war? NATO is very quiet. War is exhaustion and toxic. Well, apparently NATO, there was a report today that 30 NATO countries agreed to help open up the Strait of Hormuz. But that doesn't mean anything. Everybody can say they're going to go into the strait, but nobody's going to until it's safe. And I don't know when it's ever going to be safe. We keep saying we've degraded their missiles, but we've been saying this since day 8 of the war. We've been saying their missile launches are down 90%. Their drone launches are down 90%, but they're not anymore by the numbers, because actually the numbers have been going up since day 8 of the war. More missile launches, more drone swarms. And we haven't, if we keep saying that they only have 10% and it's not going down from there, then it's not clear we can do anything about the 10% that are left that are wreaking havoc. And they seem to, and show no signs at all of slowing. And we're not talking about taking out missile launchers anymore every day. So it seems like they've got missile launchers that we can't do anything about. That's what it seems like, just by observing how many missiles they're launching. They're increasing their attacks. They're lobbing plenty of missiles on Israel every day. They're on something like the 88th series of missiles they've launched against Israel mostly, but also against the Arab states and our bases. They say our bases are completely destroyed. There's a report today that the soldiers are having to hide out in apartments and hotels. That was reported in the news today, officially, that U.S. soldiers are like working from home because they can't work at the bases anymore. And Iran is trying to find out where they are so they can hit them there too right now. Iran is asking people to report where the U.S. soldiers are hiding out in hotels and apartments so that they can strike them there too. In these other friendly countries, the Arab states. March 28th is No King's Day, and somebody mentioned a protest. Nobody's protesting the war so far. People are still protesting Trump. And there's people that protest on my corner here against Israel, but they're still mostly protesting Gaza. So far, we don't have protests in the streets. I imagine it seems like people think that that will change if and when we get boots on the ground, which now is being predicted shortly. It could be by this weekend, where we keep moving more and more troops into the area. No King's Day, huh? March 28th. Well, if there's a protest nearby, I could go downtown and show you the morons. Well, and who knows why I call them morons. Trump is acting like a king. They're not wrong. Joe P says hapless boomer protests thinking they're at Woodstock. Yeah, it's mostly just old people, pretty much. In the town I was living in, old people would protest every Friday. They had all their anti-Trump signs. But so far, no war protests. It will change when we put boots on the ground, I assume. That's the line in the sand, I guess, for a lot of Trump supporters. That's what I hear from people who are Trump supporters. It's like, that's where I draw the line. So then we expect to see public opinion change drastically. And already public opinion is pretty bad. Still lots of support from so-called Republicans and definitely from self-identified MAGA. But no support from independents. No support, obviously, from Democrats. And the only thing keeping things together is that the price of oil is still steady. It has been for a while. It's being held that way by financial manipulation. Like the Treasury is shorting oil. But that can end in disaster. And oil went up today. It's almost all the way back to where it was before the fake news dropped about this whole thing. It's back up to like 91. WTI is up to like 91 or something already. So we'll see how things look by the end of the week. Here's the 15 points. It's all related to nuclear. no reactors. They'd have to disassemble everything, allow full monitoring, and then they would get removal of sanctions entirely, and they would get no threat of the snapback sanctions that they had before. So it's a better deal from Iran than what we were negotiating for. That's all I'm saying. If we got the whole deal, the whole 15 points, it's a better deal for them than what we were offering before the war started. So they've already gotten concessions from us. And like I said, it doesn't say anything about the ballistic missile program, which was apparently the most important thing. At least it was for a while from all the talking heads. When they were asked what the objectives of the war was, they were like, oh, it's the ballistic missiles because it's a shield, they called it. They said, oh, in a year, they'd have too many ballistic missiles to be able to even do anything about their nuclear program. Well, seems like they were already there based on how things are going. Seems like they were already there. They already had enough missiles. It seems like they were prepared. That's all. More prepared than we expected. Definitely more than what Trump expected. Iran's demands for a ceasefire are full compensation for the losses during the war, for all of the stuff we blew up, formal control of the Strait of Hormuz, which they have right now, no ballistic missile program limitations, and guarantees against future military action, and that includes from Israel. And then when you get more demands, there's also a demand to fully withdraw from all of their proxies too. So when you see more demands, they're also demanding that Israel get the hell out of Lebanon, because Israel's basically annexing the southern Lebanon right now. They've kicked all the Lebanese out, and they're occupying southern Lebanon right now. So that is often shown as another demand from Iran. And it's also often shown that they say that they're going to continue having proxies. And remember, they have proxies in Yemen. If we do anything, like I said, they have been fairly restrained so far. If we invade Kharg Island, they can close the Red Sea through the Houthis. And that's another 10% of global oil supply totally cut off. And when they did that before, we couldn't do anything about it before. When the Houthis did it before, they're very well armed because Iran has been arming them, because Iran does it for their own protection. So, and if you think Trump is going to agree, or now JD Vance is going to agree to any of these things, well, in order for us to make a deal for peace, we have to admit that we lost the war. That's all. We have to surrender. They're demanding a complete surrender from us. And we're not even demanding a complete surrender from them. We're not demanding regime change. We're not demanding ballistic missiles even. But if we want Iran to make a deal, we have to agree to a lot of stuff that we wouldn't have had to agree to before with the negotiations that were already in place. It just seems like negotiations would have been a better deal. That's all. It seems like we could have gotten what we wanted. If all we wanted was no nuclear bomb, we could have gotten that through negotiations because they were offering that already. Theophany says, are they still demanding we leave? That may also be one of the demands. It's not listed as one in the what I've seen as the specific before a ceasefire or anything, before even a ceasefire. These are the terms that we would have to come to the table with. No, even and then they will be without us agreeing to these things. They won't even negotiate, is my impression. But I've heard, yeah, that was the other thing they said. No military bases in the Middle East. No presence in the Gulf at all. So that may be another one of their demands. It's been listed before. So, and also we've already kind of made a concession. They say they won't negotiate with Israeli assets. Jared Kushner and Witkoff, they say they refuse to negotiate with them. And the only person they'll talk to is JD Vance, which is kind of funny. And we're sending JD Vance. So we're still sending, apparently we're sending JD Vance to, what is it, Pakistan this weekend, or either Friday or this weekend. But I don't know if those talks are genuinely going to happen or not. But apparently we are planning to send JD Vance, Marco Rubio, and maybe the other two guys. But apparently Iran has demanded only to speak with JD Vance, who is being incredibly quiet, right? JD Vance, it would be very smart for him to do that, because if he wants to have a chance in 2028, he has to say he was opposed to the Iran war. But he probably doesn't have a chance the way things are going. This is turning into a complete disaster. And it's only 26 days in. I mean, just wait. Just wait. A month from now, I think people are going to be very unhappy. I'm amazed that things have gone so well so far with the American public and with Trump voters. I'm amazed it's gone so well so far. And a lot of people would say it's not going well, considering Republicans are losing elections in Trump districts left and right. But I'm amazed at how well it's gone so far and how well they've been able to keep down the price of oil, most importantly, all things considered. So here's a report about why Trump thinks the war is going so great. This is from, I don't know which media outlet. Each day since the start of the war in Iran, U.S. military officials compile a video update for President Donald Trump that shows video of the biggest, most successful strikes on Iranian targets over the previous 48 hours. 3 current U.S. officials and a former U.S. official said. The daily montage typically runs for about 2 minutes, sometimes longer, the official said. One described each daily video as a series of clips of stuff blowing up. They said the videos are also driving Trump's increasing frustration with news coverage of the war. Trump has pointed to the success depicted in the daily videos to privately question why his administration can't better influence the public narrative, asking aides why the news media doesn't emphasize what he's seeing. So that's what they're showing Trump. Trump doesn't like to see or hear that things are not going well. He thinks that because things are blowing up, that means we're winning. When Iran obviously doesn't care. Because they're in a fight till the end. He threatened them with a nuclear bomb. His threats obviously don't work. They obviously don't care that they've been blown up. And they obviously still have plenty of military capacity. Let's see, if you're listening to Fox News, this Jesse Waters is the king of telling you things are amazing. So this is the propaganda that probably Trump is tuned into too, since he likes watching TV.
He sided with the Iranians. They think the Iranians are telling the truth, and Trump's just making it all up. These are the same Iranians who last week claimed they sunk one of our carriers. They lied about their nuke program and how many civilians they slaughtered. Maybe Iran's trying to look tough to keep their population in line. Or maybe, since they're all hiding with no cell phones, they don't know who's talking to who. The gay Ayatollah's MIA. The CIA thinks he's wounded, and he might not even know he's in charge. We haven't seen proof of life. And while he's on an IV drip, the Republican Guard's consolidating power. But some ran into the woods and haven't been seen since. Literally. The head of Iran's militia escaped into a forest and pitched a tent. Ordinary Iranians spotted him making a fire, tipped off Mossad, and the IDF took him out with a missile strike. Reports say Iran's security forces are on the run.
The Iranian regime is in chaos. This is Hitler's bunker. Hitler is dead. Himmler is dead. Goring is dead. Most of what you're seeing are lone wolf activities.
Trump can't even say who he's negotiating with. It's too risky.
I don't want him to be killed. Okay? I don't want him to be killed.
Mr. President, you've deployed.
Nobody wants to be that. Nobody wants that job right now, you know? Nobody's exactly looking forward to being the head of that particular country, but perhaps we'll be able to solve that problem.
Trump's announcing he's negotiating with the Iranians makes what's left of the regime not really trust each other.
There you go. It's chaos. Hitler's bunker. Well, one of the things about the Ayatollah being missing is we don't know where he is, which is actually an intelligence failure. So one of the things is we have no idea where he is. We keep saying nobody's seen or heard from him. Nobody's reporting his position to us. Our intelligence services do not know where he is or what his status is. He might be dead. I don't know. He might be dead. He might be in a coma. He might just not want to be on TV because he looks so fucked up. Who knows? But the point is, we have no eyes on him. And we just took 2 people apparently off the kill list. That was reported today. That the head of their Congress or whatever, the guy that we were supposedly negotiating with, and the foreign minister, we've taken off the kill list for 5 days, apparently. So Israel doesn't kill them in case they're willing to negotiate with us. So we've actually taken some of them off the kill list because I guess maybe we are talking to them. I have no idea. But based on all their public statements, they don't want a ceasefire and at all, unless it comes with complete peace forever for Iran and the Iranian people and the regime. The only ceasefire they'll take is, and that'll take a lot of time because they want international agreements. And like our Congress would have to pass a bill that said we'll never attack them again. We'd have to ratify it, have to be signed by the president. There's no way that's going to happen anytime soon. We'll invade first. Here's Carolyn Levitt today saying these. It's like, oh, we tried to negotiate. I guess that's what we'll say from now on. We tried to negotiate. We offered them a ceasefire. So now it's their fault.
President Trump does not bluff, and he is prepared to unleash hell. Iran should not miscalculate again. Their last miscalculation cost them their senior leadership, their Navy, their Air Force, and their air defense system. Any violence beyond this point will be because the Iranian regime refused to understand they have already been defeated and refused to come to a deal.
There you go. They refuse to understand that they've already been defeated. Here she kind of says the same thing. Oh, I think it's the same clip, actually. They refuse to admit that they've already been defeated. Well, maybe it's because maybe they don't feel like it. Maybe they don't feel like they lost. Certainly the way they're behaving. If I was to analyze their behavior, it seems like they think they're winning. And so they don't want it to stop until they get everything they want. Here is somebody saying that we haven't won yet. This is a Republican, I think.
You say that Trump has mission accomplished that we won in Iran?
We haven't won in Iran yet.
Okay.
It's still ongoing. We are totally degrading their ability to ever create, I think, chaos and havoc across the world with a potential nuclear weapon. So I think our allies with Israel and others around that region, obviously, are maybe sleeping a little bit better. But I don't think the mission is still complete yet. mean,
Well, you don't
we got more to do.
You don't normally disagree with the president, though. He's saying that we won.
Well, I think maybe it's being taken out of context. We have won because they've lost, but we need to continue to keep winning and they keep losing. That's what he meant by that. Don't take that out of context.
No,
Yeah.
It's a fair question.
I mean, that's I don't believe Trump is saying, okay, it's all done now. Let's move on. No, we're continuing to do what we're doing, but we're winning. That's what he means by that.
But we're not tired of winning.
No. Sometimes I think we are with some of the crazy stuff we do up here, though. Crazy. Anyway, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah. Well, Trump wants the war to end immediately if they'd agree to our terms. He wants that strait opened up again. That's all. Before things get really ugly. We gotta check in on the price of oil. Stocks are down, not that much, but they're down. Let's see how oil is doing. Oil is up. $98 for Brent, $91 for crude WTI. So climbing back up. Still not too bad. This is Iran making fun of Trump. Trump said the Strait of Hormuz will be controlled by me and the Ayatollah. So this is their meme of that. Trump would be the one with the fake steering wheel. And the Ayatollah would be the one actually driving the vehicle. That's a pretty funny meme. They do good with their memes. I don't know how they are. They're sophisticated. They're very sophisticated people. The Iranians. Even Trump said they're super high IQ. All right, fuel shortages. This is India already. This is already. And once again, no problems here in the United States. We'll have plenty of fuel probably because we drill it ourselves and we have enough to supply America. But who knows? This is what's going on in India. People waiting for gas on their scooters. Very dramatic music. That's people waiting for gas on their scooters in India. I told you that it was made even worse today. It is shocking to many people that oil is not higher than it is. It's very shocking. That's why I say, like, if you think the way I think, then you want to buy oil in short stocks, basically. You would think the price of oil is going to go up a lot higher, and you would think that stocks will go a lot lower because 40% of Russia's oil export capacity was just halted by Ukrainian drone attacks. And Ukraine actually is taking back territory for the first time almost since the war started. They're taking back territory apparently because Elon Musk shut down Starlink for Russians, and they're having a lot more trouble communicating on the front lines and targeting people with drones. So, and do I care? I guess, yeah, I guess if Ukraine I wouldn't be upset. Russia is kind of being a bully. I know Ukraine is the griftiest grift of all time, but I'm not sad to see them doing well against Russia. 40% of oil capacity halted. That's serious, though, because Russia is kind of all that's left for exporting oil all over the world. If 40% of their capacity is gone, that's huge. There was apparently an attack on a major pipeline and some tankers were seized from drone attacks. Taiwan, which China is probably going to take before all this is over. Taiwan runs on liquid natural gas for power. Apparently 40% of their power generation comes from liquefied natural gas. which is totally disrupted right now from the strait being closed, and also because of the fields that have been attacked. Even if the strait opens, it's not clear that LNG comes online very quickly. So this is a report that they rely on LNG for 40% of power generation, and they have an emergency stockpile that will last around 11 days. So 11 days, maybe it's till blackouts in Taiwan. I mean, it's all escalating very quickly. Chevron, I don't know why. Chevron is warning California risks a fuel crisis unless the Iran war ebbs. I don't know why. Because I would think we get our fuel from America and we have enough of it. So I don't even know why this is, but gas is super expensive here, and we have shut down a lot of oil fields because of going green and stuff. I have a hybrid, plug-in hybrid, which I thought was a stupid car, but now I'm really happy I have it. I mean, by the time this is over, pretty much everybody's going to be buying electric cars, I think. It's way cheaper by my calculations. Mine only fills up to like 30 miles at a time, but I hardly drive. So I can get almost all my driving done on electric power, and it's way cheaper. Now, electricity prices might go up too, especially places that rely on natural gas and maybe oil or other things, but it's a lot cheaper. So my next car is probably also going to be a plug-in hybrid, I think. Or electric. I don't know. Never thought I'd get an electric car, but they kind of make sense in a lot of ways. So fuel crisis in California, apparently. The Philippines has declared a state of emergency due to severe shortage of oil. So that's already happening. And we're not even a month in. And oil contracts for May are still selling for $90 a barrel. Fuel prices are up over 100% in the Philippines. And they've declared a state of emergency. South Korea announced mandatory fuel rationing already. I think they're also doing that in Germany. The International Energy Agency, I think, the IEA, put out a statement saying people need to work from home. I mean, it's like COVID shutdowns, kind of. People are like other countries already are having people work from home. They're having days of the week when you're not allowed to commute to work. I think in Germany it is, where you're not allowed to go to work on Wednesdays or something like that. And they're insisting that people work from home. And then there's like even number and odd number license plates. This happened during the 1970s. During our fuel crisis, they did a license plate thing where if you had an even, you could only refuel on certain days, depending on your license plate, whether it was an even, ended with an even or an odd number. So this is already happening. And once again, the price of oil, it's amazing. I don't know if it's just going to be one day all of a sudden. I don't know. I mean, I guess if we do ground troops, that day will be really bad for markets. But so far, I mean, it's like people are sleeping. We're already seeing all this stuff. Russia has suspended exports of ammonium nitrate, and already a ton of fertilizer ingredients come out through the Strait of Hormuz. Urea, most importantly, I guess. Ammonium nitrate is super important for fertilizer. The price of that went up during the initial months of the war with Ukraine. So Russia is not going to export any ammonium nitrate until at least a month from now, or April 21st. So that they have enough fertilizer. So the food crisis is a whole different story. I don't focus on it much because we'll see. But fertilizer is becoming incredibly expensive. It's just that for the inflation narrative, things are, and that's what Wall Street is expecting right now. Wall Street is expecting prices to go higher. A lot higher. And this is another problem for Donald Trump. Okay. The other problem for Donald Trump, which I haven't talked about yet, is the bond market. Oh, and I don't think I can see good charts of the bond market, but let's see. So let's look at the 10-year Treasury, which has gone up a lot. Let's look at a day chart. So Trump wanted lower interest rates, right? He wants the Fed to cut interest rates, and he wants interest rates to go down so people can afford houses. Well, this is since the war started, interest rates have been going up super fast. It says two things. Wall Street is expecting inflation, really bad inflation, because that's why yields would go up, is because you would have to make more money. If inflation is going to be really bad, you would want to make more interest if you're loaning money to somebody, because if inflation is higher, your money is going to be worth less in the future, right? That's what inflation does. Your money is worth less in the future. So if you're going to loan somebody a certain amount of money, you want to make sure you make back more than whatever inflation is. The thing about this is, so far, and now mortgage rates, they were at 6% not very long ago. Now they're over 7%. So for housing affordability, it's getting worse. And all of Trump's objectives, inflation, right? He was supposed to bring prices down. Well, this doesn't help with that. Oil price going up doesn't help with that. And of course, he said he was anti-war. But housing prices too. I mean, this is not, mortgage rates are now 7%, and they're going up pretty rapidly. Rates are going up pretty rapidly since the war started. And that's not good for equities. It's not good for corporations who have borrowed a lot of money. It's not good for the U.S. government, who we pay $1 trillion a year in interest. Well, that's going to go up the higher interest rates go. And it doesn't matter if we cut short-term interest rates. That doesn't necessarily affect long-term interest rates. The good news about this is that so far, Wall Street doesn't think we're going to have a recession, because if the prediction was that we're going to have a recession, then rates would come down. But eventually we'll get there. Eventually we'll get there. Employment numbers come out tomorrow. So, unemployment numbers. We'll see how bad those are. But eventually rates will come down if we go into a recession and then eventually a depression, which we will if things don't change. So eventually those rates will come down, but it won't matter because everyone's going to be losing their job and they won't be able to afford everything. And then inflation won't be a problem because prices will actually come down in a depression. But right now, the market assumes that we're going to have high inflation because of gas prices going up and everything else going up. And this is bad for markets. This is bad, especially for tech companies who borrow a shitload of money. Anybody that has to borrow money, it's bad. Car payments, all of those things will go up. Polls, independents, only 25% approve of Donald Trump right now. And 68% disapprove. And that's gone down 10 points since December. He's minus 49 on Iran for independents. And the generic ballot for independents is 57% Democrat, only 26% Republican. And they'd probably vote 100% for Thomas Massie and Rand Paul. So we'll see if they run. Independents decide elections. Yeah, Trump voters are very sticky. They might stick with him, but he's going to lose them too. Gas prices go up another 50 cents. He'll start losing a lot of people. But Trump is down even with men who he carried by 13 points when he got elected. He's now -7 with men. And with young men, he's minus 19. I'm not going to show you the guy from CNN because he's crazy. Ground invasion. It seems like there's insider betting on a ground invasion. $2 million was just bet that there won't be an invasion by the end of this month, which is very soon, which is less than a week from now. That there won't be, they bet $2 million was bet by several different wallets on exactly the same outcomes, which was that there will be no ground invasion before the end of the month, which is in a week. There will be no ceasefire before the end of the month, and that there will be an invasion next month. So that's the bet. And if we assume it's insiders, then maybe that's the official plan, is that we invade Iran next month, which it's going to take a while for the Marine Expeditionary Units to get there, assuming those are the people we're going to send in. So if you want to look at insider betting, lots of reports on the insider betting based on Trump's tweet. Okay, ground invasion. There was a briefing today of Congress, the Congressional House Armed Services Committee. Apparently, people weren't happy about it, including a number of Republicans, who said that they're very concerned that our plan is to go to war. Nancy Mace posted 4 different tweets about it. One of them said, just walked out of the House Armed Service briefing on Iran. Let me repeat, I will not support troops on the ground in Iran, even more so after this briefing. She also said the justifications presented to the American public for the war in Iran were not the same military objectives we were briefed on today in the House Armed Services Committee. The gap is deeply troubling. The longer the war continues, the faster it will lose the support of Congress and the American people. Without a War Powers Act, this is really messed up. Trump is going to be really messed up by this, I think. I think he only has 60 days. And now we're almost 30 days in. I think he only has 60 days before he has to get approval for the war. And if he doesn't, that means we just have to stop, I think. So that's an interesting date that's coming up, basically the end of next month. So if we're going to send in ground troops, we kind of have to do it soon and kind of have to achieve our goals quickly. If he's going to do it before he needs congressional approval to do it. One of the guys we're supposedly negotiating with, the Speaker of the Parliament, says, based on some intelligence reports, Iran's enemies are preparing to occupy one of the Iranian islands with support from one of the regional countries. Our forces are monitoring all enemy movements, and if they take any step, all the vital infrastructure of that regional country will be targeted with relentless, unceasing attacks. The leader of the IRGC wants us to invade. He said, now we just have one message for American soldiers: come closer. I say I don't know if Trump will do it because it's so because people are going to die, and Trump hates it when people die, which I assume is what his advisors will tell him right as he's about to launch that attack. We're either going to take over. We have to, okay? If we want to take back the Strait of Hormuz, we have to put boots on the ground. But even if we do, it's not like I don't think we're going to win, but I think we're planning to go in because we realize that we have no way to open up the Strait of Hormuz unless we take over, and we need boots on the ground to do that. So I'm sure he's been advised of that, and that's why they're planning to put boots on the ground, I'm guessing. Like I said, if we want to meet our objectives, we must put boots on the ground. So if we want to win the war, if we want to win, we have to put boots on the ground. So I assume that's why they're thinking about doing it. But I just don't know if Trump will give the order once he's advised that those troops will be in great danger. Amphibious assault almost seems out of the question, because I showed you the video. I showed you the War Tunes video of the underwater drones they have that can blow up ships. As soon as the ships get in range, Iran is going to start launching missiles at them, and we obviously can't stop them. So, and they might have more advanced anti-ship missiles from China or Russia that they haven't used yet. But like our ships so far are out of range intentionally. We're not escorting ships because it's not safe. And all the European countries and everybody else, they can say, oh, we'll escort ships, but it's not safe. It's not safe now. I don't see it getting safe. That's all. This guy on Iranian TV says that if we put troops on the ground, they'll actually take over the coastlines of the UAE and Bahrain, so they're ready to put boots on the ground in other countries and take over their oil infrastructure and remake the entire region. I assume this is in Iranian. That's not in English. The Wall Street Journal wrote an op-ed that said we must put troops on the ground or America will collapse. President Trump must put boots on the ground to open the Strait of Hormuz and demonstrate this unquestionable supremacy of American power. If he fails, his legacy will be one of American collapse. So they're saying he has to do it. I agree. I agree. If we want the Strait of Hormuz open, we have to do that. But it's not clear we'll achieve it even with boots on the ground because it's so incredibly dangerous. We'll lose. I don't even know if it's possible. I don't even think it's possible, actually. Not without 1 million troops. And then we need a draft. So. Trump is telling Netanyahu is telling Trump to call for an uprising. And Trump is saying, quote, why the hell should we tell people to take to the streets when they'll just get mowed down, unquote. Royal United Service Institute says that Israel is days away from running out of arrow interceptors. This is the real reason for the ceasefire. And Israel is one of the ones pushing it the most, is that maybe they're about to run out of interceptors entirely. So there is a report that Israel is days away from running out of arrow interceptors, and that the United States is about 3 weeks away from running out of THAAD stockpile. So people were saying this all along, that we only have some. And so if we got a ceasefire, it would be to rearm. And so Iran probably doesn't want us to do that. So just as I predicted, okay, we have huge lines at airports still. We're sending in ICE and Border Patrol or something. But they can't even do the checking. There are huge lines at airports. Trump proposed a deal. Now the deal isn't going to happen. Democrats have proposed to fund TSA. Democrats said they'll fund TSA. Republicans refuse to. Elon Musk says he'll pay their salaries. Trump said no. Just like I said he would. They want the lines so they can blame the other side. That's all. They want the suffering. That's their leverage. Their leverage is American suffering. And this time it's the Republicans. Last time it was the Democrats who didn't want to fund them. But Elon Musk said he'd pay their salaries. And apparently it's going to be really bad. A bunch of people had to quit. People are getting their cars repossessed. They're working like DoorDash or whatever to pay their bills. Enough people quit that we can't even get them rehired and trained in time for the World Cup, which is coming up in less than 3 months. So we might have like the worst World Cup of all time without TSA agents and stuff. I'm thinking about going to a game, actually, because it's going to be in LA and San Francisco. I could see the United States play. It's expensive. It's very expensive. But there's going to be a quarterfinal in LA and San Francisco. I'm thinking about checking it out. Okay, this is the yield. Okay, finally, like Mark Levin had a conversation with Joe Kent where Mark Levin just came across like an idiot. So I'll just play that for you.
And also, as Secretary Rubio said, there was no imminent threat coming from Iran against the Americans.
Well, you know, he corrected that.
There was an imminent threat coming from the Israelis who were going to attack. But that's actually the truth.
Okay, hold on. We're going to do it. We're going to do it honestly, one point at a time.
Had observed, the Iranians had observed an escalation ladder. They hadn't attacked us under President Trump.
Can you do me a favor? And I don't mean to be rude. Can you talk a little more slowly? I'm having trouble hearing. Take your time. Go ahead.
Sure. When President Trump came into office, the Iranians knew that President Trump wanted to get a deal. They observed the escalatory ladder very carefully. They stopped having our proxies attack us like they were attacking us under the Biden administration. And they got to the negotiating table with us about the nuclear agenda. When the 12-day war kicked off and the Israelis started that, the Iranians still didn't attack us.
All right. We have to take a break. I'm going to circle back on some of your comments here, and then I have some other questions. I
mean, he's like, I can't hear you. Can you slow down? Yeah, Iran wasn't attacking us. Iran was only what the intelligence was that if Iran was attacked by Israel first, then they would attack us. That was the imminent threat. It was only a threat if Israel attacked first. Therefore, we went to war for Israel. And Israel most likely would not have attacked without our approval. The only imminent threat was if Israel attacked. Now, I'm sure the intelligence showed that. The intelligence showed if Israel attacked this time, they would attack us. Okay, so yes, they would attack us. There was an imminent threat because Israel was going to attack anyway. But they wouldn't have attacked if we didn't go in with them, most likely. All right, I don't think I got any super chats on the show today. I don't know. It doesn't look like it. But I did get a coffee before the show started. Remember, you can support the show by going to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. It's the most efficient way to support the show. They don't take a large percentage like YouTube does, and they pay out right away. I am grinding, working, and doing my show. Not making very much money. So I appreciate any support I can get. I started drinking coffee at home to save money. So I can't say I'm buying coffees, expensive coffees anymore. But I could still use your support. Not Joanna bought 2 coffees, says enjoying the financial discussions in the context of the Iran war. Thank you, Not Joanna. Glad you're enjoying that. We enjoy that part of the show. It's a super important part of this war is the financial part of it. Jewel Lightheart said, another share of the wealth day. Hope you're doing well and managing not to sweat the small stuff. Thank you for that. And then someone anonymous bought a coffee. Yeah, I was able to get a job doing bicycle delivery, but it pays about like maybe, I don't even know if I've made $5 an hour. Probably. I worked today so far for 3 hours and got 0 orders. They don't really prioritize me. So we'll see. All the kids are out of town for spring break. So we'll see if it gets better. I'm going to go out right now and wait. That's what I'm going to do. It's not easy out there. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Let's check on markets actually. Let's check on stocks. Stocks are down a little bit. I think tomorrow they'll be down. And that will be right back around where we started when Trump said that everything was going to be great. So then we'll see where we end up by the end of the week. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you guys. And we'll see you hopefully tomorrow, but one of these days. I going early is better because then I can get back out and work and stuff too. So anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. Good to see you. We'll see you at the next one. For now, that's what it is.